Hi guys. Hi, I'm Celeste. I wanted to ask ChatGPT for like a bunch of twin flame questions and I wanted to answer them or not have answers to them. Wait, come all the way over here. Okay. So, I don't know. I just wanted to, I feel like there's so many people who are like an educator on the topic, and I feel like I don't know everything, but anything I hear from them just seems stupid. So I'm just putting on chopstick in the weirdest way because it's kind of like all the way down. Because I wanted to start off the video in a way that is embarrassing to some people, I guess. A lot of people think things are embarrassing if I do it, but not if they do it. So, I don't know. But, you know, it is what it is. It's super hard to do though, because it like, the little piece of chopstick is like sliding around. Like, I hate this. Yep. So, I only answered like a couple of twin flame questions in this one video, and like, I don't know, it was like a little bit like chakra opening, like it made me think about some weird stuff. So, I guess we're gonna do it again. Why are we gonna do it again? Well, because I think, what are some of the ways you can like embarrass yourself the most in your life and in society? Like, I feel like you can just like do weird stuff. But also, if I heard anybody talk about twin flames, I'm not saying I know everything, but everything I hear them say either doesn't do anything or it seems like it goes over my head or whatever. Like, maybe they're just geniuses and that's why they get it, or maybe they're really stupid and that's why they think they're an educator. I can't tell because it looks sometimes like they just googled twin flames, or it'll be like a 30-minute video of advice, but the whole thing is like, everybody has not positive and negative energy, oh my god, but yeah, like polarity. They're like, oh my god, like everybody has like feminine and masculine energy, right? Everybody has feminine and masculine energy in each of them, and that's why one is a boy and one's a girl. But it's like, there's also gay people, and I don't think that there can't be twin flames that could be gay and trans and everything, and like non-binary, because first of all, I do believe that because guess what, the easiest thing would be for somebody to become like non-binary if they wanted to, because all they have to do is just say that that's who they are, and then that's who they are now. And that does not mean that if they had a twin flame that they'd stop having it, because like the like form of it is like, it just wouldn't exist if you could get rid of it, because why'd that person make you mad today or something, you know what I mean? Or like, not today, but like, what could be today? You could be going through it today. You could be going through it tomorrow. There's new people coming to the planet all the time. And then they grow up, they become adults, and they just don't know stuff. And then they find out. And so for that reason, there's always somebody new who doesn't know anything. So, you know, that's just out there. That's just out there in the world. So, I think once people get into the older generations, they just decide they know everything, but they can't prove it. So then if you know something they don't know, it gets like triggering. So, yes. Yeah. Oh no, I'm ready to just dive in though. Is it gonna be terrible? No. But is it gonna be embarrassing? Probably. Anyway, 1 second. Oh yeah, I already have question number 1 written down. Okay. Question number 1 is, what does twin flame mean to you personally? It just means the other one. Like, it just means the other one. Like, just the other person. Like, not like everybody, but it just means the other person. Because I already know who it is, so I'm like, oh, it's just the other person. But I'm over here living my life, but it's just the other person. That's all. But like, there's obviously like infinite other people, so not like that, but like, you know. I think the question, it's a little bit like the twin flame is the person who you I don't know why yet. I mean, I guess why would just be like, oh, like the universe is even so positive out there that we only see the negative side of it here, right? Like, I think there's probably like a really cool version of why. I think there's a really cool version of why somehow. So essentially, say you're like about to start your life. You are just in this room, and there's like there's another person who's your twin flame. You're both in this room together, and there's like deities like talking to you, or like whoever you believe in, right? Whoever your god is in the room with you, saying like, oh, like you guys are planning to start, you guys are about to go to Earth, like that's cool, you're about to go to Earth, like here's all the current stuff that's going to be trending, like here's all the stuff you need to know about, here's the place that like you're both gonna go, like here's, you know, all of the stuff that you have to learn that gets in the way of you guys being able to accept each other and yourself, so that you can hopefully overcome it, because the whole game is that you're trying to just overcome it. But if you don't, then like that's fine, but like you have to make sure you choose a hard enough journey, because whatever you don't overcome, like while you're there, after you die from Earth, that's fine, you'll probably die like around the same time, but like maybe sometimes there's like an exception to that, but like, you know, then you'll just both be in this room again, and not that there's not other places you could go, like you could like walk out this room and go places, but like the point is, if you're going to Earth, you're both sitting in this room, and there's just like spirits and like gods and stuff around you, okay? So they're like, okay, like you want to go to Earth, like here's what it's gonna be about. There's sometimes like I visualize it like there's like books, but they're kind of like not like paper, it's like glossy. So it's like if you had like a binder with like those like plastic sheet protectors full of stuff. They're like, oh yeah, here's like the Earth one. You take it, you're like, okay, like this whole entire binder is about like the United States. So it's just like, you know, you might see like a picture of an American flag, and then you might see like some like pictures from like the wars, and like, you know, you flip the page, you see like whatever else, like you see like, here's a page about like the Civil War, I don't know. And then here's a page about like American schools and the system, and here's everything bad about the American school system, here's everything good about it. Like, I know that you guys don't know about this yet, but like, is there any specific thing on this list that like you want to make sure you learn about? And like, is there anything that like makes you like curious about it? Like, is there anything that you know, here's a list about like some of the worst things people experience, here's a list about some of the best things people experience. Like, you each separately choose a completely separate life, but you're still like that. So, but you're usually not going to even know that there's another person, because you normally can't sense them, but sometimes you become so evolved that you can sense that, and that other people can sense that on or around you, which again, like, depending if they have a super easy life, people can just sense it, but there's also other reasons. If they just had a lot to overcome, they can kind of like choose that if that's what they want at the time, but then they can kind of make it go away. I don't know. Same thing is like people's aura. They can make it like look attractive to you, then they can make it not look attractive to you at all. But if they had a super easy life, it might just look attractive to you. But then if they had a harder life, they can like control it like on demand, or they could try to. You get it. Because they might have found out like, oh, it's really good if you can like choose who's attracted to you, not just everybody, or to not have them be at all, or you want everybody to be like. But sometimes if somebody had a super easy life, they're not going to know why if people are attracted to them, so people are just going to be attracted to them, because they're not going to like know anything yet. So it's like how they learn stuff is by like people. kind of both. So yeah, it's just the other one. Like, I think maybe when people first find out about it, they're like, oh my god, like, this is crazy, like, I'm obsessed with, like, the concept and stuff. I think it's casual in the sense, like, maybe it's not, but, like, it's casual in the sense of, like, oh, that's just the other person who other people are gonna know about. If they're, like, trying to investigate your energy too much, they can, like, find out about the other people. Or the other person, I mean. You know what I mean. Okay, next question. So, next question. There's this thing. If you Google twin flames, there's so much jealousy in the world. And there's so many people who are married to the wrong person, but they still want to not know why. No offense, but, like, because, like, live your life. But there's so much of that. And there's so much of, like, well, can other spiritualities still count here? Can this still make sense? Oh, but what if I thought someone was my twin flame 10 years ago and I still think that, but I'm married to this other person who's amazing, but, like, they're also kind of toxic. And then people are like, we need, like, 5,000 labels for all of these different types of relationships because we don't want to leave anybody out because there's so much jealousy, but we also don't want to be left out of anybody else's life because there's so much jealousy on the planet. Okay? And everybody's with the wrong person, and everybody wants to make sure that it's not supposed to really be that person from 10 years ago, it's supposed to be the person from right now. So many people are doing that. Okay? And so many people are like, well, I'm not gonna, like, not date anybody for, like, a week because then I'm by myself for a whole week. Is how a lot of people feel and how a lot of people act, which is kind of insane. It's kind of too much, but they're gonna do what they want to do. That's kind of like a lot of people's, like, baseline out there is, like, they don't want to be by themselves for, like, a week or more, or, like, 2 days or more, because why are they by themselves? Like, calm down. You didn't die if you were by yourself for 2 days or for a week. You did not die. You did not die. Like, you did not die. You did not die. You did not die. You're fine. You actually lived. You actually lived. Okay. Okay. So, the question is, how is a twin flame different from a soulmate or karmic relationship? So, how is a twin flame different from a soulmate or a karmic relationship? So, your twin flame... Okay, so remember how if you do something to yourself, we don't use the same metrics to judge what's happening as we do if somebody else does something to you. This is gonna get some people in some messed up mindsets, so don't try to take it as, oh, if they did something illegal, that would be fine. Try to not take it like that. Try to take it, like, in all other contexts, but not, like, physical, like, torture or something. Don't try to take it, like, don't try to take it out of context for no reason, okay? But, like, the actual information is that if your twin flame did something to you, or if you did something to them, it's held accountable on a similar level as if you did it to yourself, which doesn't make it okay at all. But they're also not somebody who's gonna want to be, depending on how hard your life was, you're actually just gonna be separated by, like, the universe and by, like, deities and gods and stuff. If you guys would actually be a risk to each other, that's why you're separated for so long. Because you have to learn how to not do that. Then you meet each other, then you're like, oh, well, I know we just learned how to not do that, but it's not going very well, and then you're separated again. Okay? Because it's very common on the planet, whatever you're overcoming, it's not going very well, even though you just learned how to not be harmful to each other. It's not going very well, so you're gonna be separated for multiple years or for the rest of your life. That's the most realistic example. It's not going very well that you guys were not going to be harmful to each other. That's just the baseline of the whole planet with it. So that's your twin flame. But it's as far as, like, oh, spiritual, like, or any kind of, like, accountability, it's usually held accountable on the level of if you did it to yourself, which is why you guys are just separated if you're going to do something bad to each other, because it's prevented. Because then you just have issues you can't work out during your time on Earth, which is going to ruin everything. So, yeah. There's actually a lot that goes into making sure you're never in the same place at the same time, unless you're not going to torture each other, okay? There's just a lot that goes into that. So, because there's a lot of reasons it kind of can't be, or is not held accountable to a higher degree than if you had done it to yourself. Which is why, again, if they were gonna do something that's like illegal, they're gonna be separated forever. Well, forever in the lifetime. Because why'd you mess up so badly that even though you were taught about it, you still wanted to do that? Okay? That's really what it is. That's really what it is. Accountability is how they're just separated permanently, pretty much for the rest of their lifetime. Or they're not, and the deities are like, oh, we actually think over here we got it figured out. Oh, you think you got it figured out over there? Okay, they're just gonna see each other again. Because it's not gonna be like they like died over it, you know, or like something really bad happened that they're like, well, I'm not supposed to forgive anybody who does this and this and that, you know what I mean? Like, whatever they see it as, like, really, really bad stuff that could be unforgivable, they're separated if that's what they're gonna do. So, that's why twin flames go into separation. Super embarrassing for everybody who is in a separation or was at any point in time, because what were you really gonna do? But, like, also, though, maybe their life was just so hard that they wouldn't be able to, like, figure it out. So, yeah. Now, what's a soulmate and what's a karmic relationship? Soulmate is, okay, we'll take it on like a level of like easier and harder, right? So, soulmate is easiest, a lot of the time. Karmic is really hard, a lot worse. What is a karmic? I don't really, it's one of those things where I'm like, I would love to just not believe in it, because it's not really like a thing in that way. A karmic is just somebody who does bad stuff to you, but you let them do bad stuff to you. Which I know you're like, well, we just talked about a twin flame. That sounded pretty bad. It is pretty bad, but it's also pretty good. The karmic, it's that toxic relationship where they're just like punching each other in the face with like broken glass or something. Or they're cheating on them all the time. You know, and nothing is done to separate these two people. And if they do something to each other, that was like a completely separate person who did something terrible to you, and like now it's never gonna be fine, and like I can't believe you let them do that to you, like all of that, right? Or like the karmic is the one who's like, they'll go to like jail or something, or you'll go to jail over them, or whatever it is. It's like a karmic if it like you only have karma, and that's why you're attracted to them, is because they have even more karma than you. And all you have is karma, so you can't actually be with who you're meant to be with. You have to be with the karmic, which is why I would say just like don't even do those, because why do you guys want to be cheated on like 70 times? Like, why? Like, actually though, like you're like married to them and they're cheating on you and they're doing all the terrible stuff, okay? They're just the people that want to be connected to you only so they can be abusive every time that you know them. That's the karmic. But it's like the extreme, you know what I mean? It's like I said, I know I just explained the twin flame, and that sounded pretty bad, and like half of it was suffering. So imagine if all the good parts of that could never exist, and then that's the karmic. Or, you know, they're only attracted to each other because of like vanity and jealousy and stuff, and they have like the ego problem. They're like, oh, I just want to like show you off, but then they're just like abusive to each other. Or one is to the other one, and they just let it happen and don't do anything. That is the karmic, which is why I'm like, if you guys could skip that one, you were already gonna feel like, why does it have to be so bad with the twin flame anyway? So like, why would you want to go lower is what the karmic is though. If you want to go so much lower than that, because you're still not satisfied with like how bad your life is, you want to make sure it's worse, is what the karmic is there for. To make sure, if you're still not satisfied with how bad your life is, it gets a lot worse out of nowhere for no reason. And then people get confused. They're like, well, obviously the one who I was willing to go back to after they did something terrible to me is the karmic. So that means the karmic is the twin flame. And then it's like, what? But the karmic person, they weren't you. Neither one is you because you're a separate person. But the karmic is not you, and that's what makes them not the twin flame. That's why you only have the one twin flame, because the only one who is you is the twin flame. Because they are you. It's just fine. It's just true. That person's you, they just have a separate brain, okay? That person's just also you, they just have a separate brain because you guys trained on how to be different, separate people. Okay? You just trained on how to be separate people because you're each separate, you know what I mean? You get what I'm saying. But the karmic just is not you, and that's why they're not going to start being you tomorrow. Because they're just not you. Because they either are or they're not, and that's just how it is. So, yeah. The one who's going to do really terrible stuff is just the karmic, but nobody's skipping that chapter, which is weird. Unless they had, like, a super easy life already, but, like, everyone else is just doing that. And then they're just calling the karmic the twin flame, which is just gonna curse them forever, because that's what they want, because they have so much karma that they're not trying to get rid of it. They get cheated on the first date, they're like, oh, the karmic is amazing. Like, it's not clocking, you could say, in Justin Bieber's words, okay? Now I know, I already said, that I believe that Justin Bieber and Selena Gomez are twin flames. Well, I obviously don't believe that Hailey Bieber's a karmic relationship, because I don't think she's causing him trauma. I think she's probably what we're about to call the soulmate connection, which, again, if you want something easy that's just not, like, you know, I mean, the karmic is like they're actually gonna punch them in the face. The twin flame is like, well, I love you, but we're never gonna talk for like 10 years for no reason, and then that happens. The soulmate, they don't really have any issues with. Maybe they walked past each other in past lives or had a conversation, like, it's, or maybe they were friends in a past life. It doesn't mean they can't be friends or a mentor or anybody, like a teacher. Like, the twin flame is not the only person you met in your past life. They're just the only person who was you in your past life. When you were you in your past life, they were also the you sitting next to you in your past life. If that helps. That, you know, in your past life, you were sitting there next to you, okay? It was just a separate person, but you were sitting next to you, but you also had friends, you had everything else. You had everything you think you had, okay? You just, so obviously you know all of those in this life, you just don't remember that they're from that life. So, what makes the karmic, or what makes the soulmate not like the karmic or the twin flame is that the soulmate is a super easy relationship, super easy friendship. It's like you have that friendship, you guys are not fighting, you're only helping each other, like, for the most part, you know, you're not gonna, like, punch each other in the face, like, you're not gonna be mean, like, because then it's, like, kind of karmic if you're, like, being mean for no reason and stuff, you know, but, like, yeah. Think of it like you can have soulmate friends, you can have karmic friends who, why are you still friends with them? That's why it would just be like an abusive, like, romantic relationship or something, but, like, yeah. I feel like my attention goes there because it's like, why are you there? I think you kind of know if you have a friend. Think of it the same way as, like, well, if I have a best friend who's my soulmate, not in the context of, like, we're dating, right? But, oh, this is my best friend who's my soulmate because I know that that person is always going to be amazing to me, always going to be there for me. Like, that person does not hate me out of nowhere for no reason. That person does not, like, steal from you. You know what I mean? Like, they're actually, like, a good friend. Like, that person is teaching you amazing things you never knew about. That person is supporting you. That person's looking out for you. That person's making sure that you are happy and that you're okay and stuff. And that's truly, like, kind of what it is. It's just not going to be as, like, if it were romantic, it's just not going to be as intense as the twin flame, but it can be amazing. Like, there's no reason it wouldn't be amazing, except it's just not going to be, like, as intense. It's going to be somebody you're, like, attracted to, and they're attracted to you, but, like, it doesn't mean that there couldn't have been somebody who you felt, like, more passion with or for. So it's just that, like, the passion is kind of missing, but it doesn't mean that person's going to be, like, mean to you, if that helps. Like, you could just have so much love that you're attracted to both of them. It's just gonna make the twin flame go missing forever, though. Because they're gonna be like, why would I want to be there if there's a soulmate right there who, like, why wouldn't you just go for the better one? Like, that's how they're gonna feel. But then that actually means they're making the person who's their twin flame also feel that. If maybe for them or, like, towards them or towards something else or somebody else, they might end up, say you as the person's twin flame starts to feel like, well, why would I be there if I'm gonna have to be around you with like a person who looks like a soulmate, right? So they're just gonna be like more perfect and nicer in every way, right? So why would I want to be there if I'm gonna have to like experience that? So then when that one twin flame says that, the other one who's actually like around the, or knows the person who's like the soulmate, essentially then they could start to feel that about either the twin flame, where they're like, oh well, I have so much passion for you, but you probably have somebody you're texting who I would just think is like way better and I don't even know about it, right? So it kind of goes that way. Or they could look at the soulmate and be like, wow, that person's like always nice to me and always good to me, but like there's not a lot of passion. But even though there's not, or maybe there, you can like create that, you know what I mean? There's no reason you can't like have like, you can create like, you can train your mind and your emotions to have different capacities for different things, so it's not like impossible. I don't know. But the soulmates are gonna feel like Earth is like heaven if they're together, which is gonna be a problem because the whole point is that Earth is not your permanent destination. So there's multiple sides to it. People are still supposed to be so strong that they don't have to be on Earth to have a life and stuff. Like the whole point is like you do get out eventually. Still, the whole point is that you do go somewhere else eventually. Well, but also the thing is, the soulmate, you know when people say like, oh, nothing bad happened, the relationship just like fizzled out, but if they actually mean it, then it's like a soulmate. It's like it's perfect for like a few years and then it just like fizzles out. But they're like, oh, we could still be friends because like nothing bad happened. I don't know, like I think I understand why people would find a soulmate like attractive, because they just want to feel like something is easy and somebody is nice to them, and they want to feel like, well, I don't have to like worry about it, like they're just gonna be there, they're gonna be nice, like they're not gonna like be mean, like I don't know. Which cool. I think I'm so like, I want to work on like my life mission, which sounds boring. It does sound boring, but like I don't know, if you have so much passion in a romantic way or in like a sexual way, you can sense if this is the person you're meant to be with or if it's not. That means if you had like intimacy, and if you had intimacy, you can tell the difference, and you would be like, this person's always nice to me, they just really don't like hit different, you know, like they kind of don't, there's something missing, like there's not a lot to work on, but there's nothing like there, like it's not like giving like amazing, you know. So it does sound like kind of vulnerable to say. I think I don't really know, but I feel like the karmic would just be like the most like toxic, you know, version of that. Like probably it would just feel gross to have any intimacy with them because they're just all awful to you like all the time. So I don't know, I think people would only get like addicted to letting that happen or whatever. But yeah, then the soulmate, they would be nice to you. They're just gonna be, you would have like, if you were a type of person who has a lot of passion, you would have compatibility issues where they're just trying to go one way and you're trying to go another way. Is like the soulmate, you know, which you still have love for them, they still have love for you, but like you can tell whatever it is that like you desire as far as like intimacy or in any way, like they just want something different. And so then whatever you are is just never gonna like do it for them. So, and then whatever they really are, it's always gonna like just not be exactly what you wanted. It's never gonna be like, oh, I'm pleasantly surprised, that was exactly what I wanted. Well, like, not that you can't like make yourself feel that way, but like there's always just gonna be like something missing. They go in to kiss you, but like it's not that you're jealous of, oh, they've like had this experience so many times. It's not like you're jealous, because it's the soulmate is what I'm talking about. So it's like, it's just the way they did it. Like I wish it was more like this other person. But I don't have to say that because they're so nice to me. It's like that weird thing, right? So some people are willing to settle for just what they really desire isn't even me, and what I really desire isn't even them, but they're still nice to me, which sounds a little bit like a weird like situation to me. You're both willing to do it anyway, but like neither of you is actually like each other's dream person. You're just both pretty sure that doesn't exist, so you might as well do it anyways. It's kind of weird. Why were you willing to do it anyways? You didn't have something else you wanted? Oh, you had to be dating somebody every week. So you had a lot of soulmates and 1 or 2 karmic ones. And you could not meet the twin flame because you couldn't take a break and it was going to be traumatizing to them. That's pretty much it with that. Okay, the next question, kind of traumatizing, I don't know how I'm gonna answer it. Okay, so the next question is, do you believe everyone has a twin flame? Do you believe everyone has a twin flame? So, I don't know, I'm still figuring out if I believe everybody does, because sometimes it's the people who I would have least expected to have one that then I find out, oh, they have one, and it's that person over there, you know what I mean, like, that sort of thing. I think being somebody who I think I see people as being so important even if they don't know that they're important. So I think a lot of people have a twin flame who's just maybe not incarnated in this life, or who's so equally maybe messed up as them that they can't meet them ever. Not that they can't, like, I'm not saying they just waited somewhere else, but like, say you are like, I'm trying to think of a really good way to phrase it. Say you're never going to China. You're just never going to China. You're never going to be able to afford it, but you're going to live a normal life. You're just never going to China. And you just know that. And you don't even care about China. You've never been interested. But your twin flame is living a whole entire life in China, the same age as you just never had to meet. Or you're like, they're like a year younger or a year older or whatever, or like 5 years older. It doesn't matter because you're never going to meet. Doesn't matter, you're never going to meet. Even if you got kidnapped and taken to China, they're going to be in Japan when you're kidnapped and taken to China. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're going to be in North Korea, dedicating their whole life to something by the time you're in China. So, you get what I'm saying? Like, it's sort of giving, there's no reason to think that think about it like, okay, there's you, and then there's the other you who's not really technically you, but they're you, and nobody else is you, but other than them and you. It's kind of like that. Does it really matter if you guys both go to Earth and meet each other, or if you both go to Earth and never meet each other? Well, if you already planned that the whole plan is that you never meet each other, and you just focus on your life, you're just going to be somebody who doesn't believe in twin flames. Because you were just never supposed to actually meet yours, because they were going to be in China when you were somewhere else. Or it doesn't have to be China, but like they were going to be in Africa, you were going to be in Australia. You know? And then, but you were never going to go on an airplane, so it doesn't really matter. I mean, these days a lot of people are on airplanes, but like, you know, if you were never going to be like a world traveler and run into them at the exact same like cafe, what are the odds? It's so easy to have that be prevented. You know, you could even be like, they're in the next city, but you're in this city, you never cross paths on the street, and then the next day you leave. You go somewhere else. So it's between like you and whichever God's brought you here and planned your life on earth, whether or not you guys are going to meet, when you're going to meet, what the context is. You have to think about how rare and impossible it kind of is to like, it's not rare and impossible to meet people. It's sort of a lot. It's a lot to like think of like how to phrase it, right? If you're meant to know somebody, then the odds of you guys ever meeting look very small, but it's because the deity forced you guys to meet each other. So, yeah. It's kind of like that. Do I think everyone has a twin flame, or do I believe everybody has one? I don't believe in unimportant souls. I just believe in souls that are a million years from finding anything important about themselves. And if you're never going to find something important about yourself, you're going to have nothing that you would love about your twin flame. Maybe there's experiments too. The thing is, you can never see things in your twin flame that don't exist within you. So, and you can't really see a whole lot that exists within you that you'd be able to like explain that actually doesn't exist in them. There's a lot of like, you know, maybe superficial, like, oh, they dyed their hair green today, I would never do that, like, I don't have that. But what did they learn from that? Whatever they learned from that is what you learned yesterday in your life. So it doesn't really matter. But like, oh, you're gonna look at like, well, they have this eye color and I don't, so whatever they're learning from that, no, but like whatever they learned from that, you just learned about it at the same time they learned about it, like all the way over there. So it doesn't matter. Yeah. You had a different version, like it came from somewhere else, like they got their hair done, well, that's cool. You didn't learn whatever they learned from that, no, but you just got like a new pair of shoes that you felt like super like good about, or whatever, or you just ruined something that you cared about because what if they don't like their hair, whatever, you know what I mean? Like it's sort of like, it's going somewhere else. That's all. I don't believe that there's souls that are just not actually like important, but I believe like there's people who just learn nothing their whole life, or they're just like mean to people, mean to themselves, they just don't do anything. So yeah. Okay, then that means it's just their twin flame is if they're also on the planet somewhere also doing nothing. And then if that person's not unique, the twin flame is not unique either. They're exactly on the same level of not being unique, but that doesn't look legendary because nobody else was unique. Okay, we're about to do the next question, but I'm just gonna put this toner on my face because I don't know why. It's just gonna be nice, like cute. So the question is the $1 million biggest question ever, right? Okay. Could twin flames be more about personal growth than romance? So like it's sort of like yes and no, because in essence, that's the only thing they are, is about personal growth. But we live such small lives on Earth, every person, even if you make it the most big, interesting, complex life ever, like every person on Earth kind of just lives like a basic life. A lot of people, pretty much everyone lives kind of a basic life on Earth. Like it's simple, there's really only this many things you can learn about, like, you know. So romance just happens to be one of the things that people learn about. And so in this era, what twin flames are and do is that it is usually just a romantic relationship. So that's usually like their goal, like that's, if anything, what they're kind of like trained as, like this is the era, like this is what we want you to learn, like, you know, you have certain goals you can reach. If you are able to achieve this, that would be really hard, but it would also be really like fruitful, so it would be a really interesting goal for you to have, and it would kind of mean you accomplish part of your mission. And that's like how it is. That's just how it is. Like it sounds so like cold to say like oh, it's a mission, so like you have to like do this. Like have to is kind of wild, but like you know what I mean though. Like it's like in order to accomplish your mission, then you would have to do that. But you just, nobody can like force you to accomplish your mission, which is fine. But like part of your mission. So you just would have to. If you wanted to actually accomplish your mission, like if they just did a fake version with the wrong person, they just wouldn't be accomplishing their mission, which again, nobody can force you to like just do one of the things you just planned to do while you were on Earth. But I think people, when they're out of balance, it's like, well, who would be drawn to somebody saying like, oh, you have to be like in a relationship with me or you're not going to accomplish your mission on the planet? Like, it sounds like a lot to say. So yeah, nobody can like force them to do it. If you're both out of balance, you both equally don't want it. And then if you are both like in balance, you both equally want it. So you can't ever really want it to a higher degree than them, which causes problems. But it also helps you to understand, like, I understand that like what exists within all of us is that like maybe I want it and don't want it at the same time, but it doesn't mean that you want it to a lesser degree. You're just doing something else, and it doesn't mean you don't want it to a higher or lower degree. It just means I also partially didn't want it. So it kind of goes both ways. It's only happening for growth, but the method of it happening is always that it's romantic. Otherwise, you would not have been sort of forced to incarnate together. Or again, they would have just been in another country where you were never going to meet them, living their own separate life, just so that you could literally, you do not become like physically the same person ever. You're not physically the same person just because you leave Earth. Like the same person, you planned your life together. Your chakras are going to have like a way that they're like connected. So a lot of your energy and experiences is the same as theirs, even if it's not physical experiences. Maybe it's physical experiences. For a lot of people, maybe you have something bad happen in their life the same day something bad happened in your life, but the actual like energy of like what you kind of work through can be the same. I don't know. Why would I know everything? Most of what I'm saying is probably awful. But it's better to say something that's not correct and then later on find out that it's not correct, because sometimes the method of finding out something's not correct is by accidentally misspeaking, thinking about it for a while, being like, oh yeah, like I thought about this one thing I said this one time and that's how I learned this other thing that's actually correct. Like, talking is going to be half of like how you're able to teach yourself, you know? So it is what it is. Saying something wrong is just going to teach you how to say it the right way. But yeah, it's probably so awful for people to have somebody be like, you have to be in a relationship with me or we can never accomplish our mission that we both agreed to. They're like, well, I don't remember agreeing to a mission. You're like, exactly. You don't have to, it's fine. Like, that doesn't work. It doesn't make sense. You're not going to stand out from the karmic trying to say the same thing or the soulmate trying to say the same thing. Oh, we're meant to be together. Because again, on Earth, everybody's lives are so small and so tiny and so unimportant that if you became more important, it would be very easy for you to find out who your twin flame is. Just nobody really does. So it's all good. It almost doesn't matter if you have one unless you know that you do, and then you might still be wrong unless you can prove it. But even if you can prove it to yourself, you can't prove it to somebody else, even if it's actually true. And so, does it matter? I think it matters to know yourself, and when you know yourself, you're just gonna be like, oh yeah, there's this other person right there, okay, cool. Like, it doesn't mean something like upgraded, it just means like your ability to sense what's going on upgraded. But it doesn't like change something that wasn't already that way. It just means now you know the way things are. So, next question. How do you know a twin flame isn't just intense attraction or attachment. So there's a correct way to know that your twin flame is not just attachment or attraction or intense attraction. And this has to do again with how small our lives are on Earth and how hard it is to be spiritual enough, to know the correct way enough, to believe in past lives enough, to remember all your past lives with them, and or instances of a deity literally sitting in front of the both of you together, explaining it to you and telling you that now you get to like choose your incarnations on Earth. But in order to have the mental and emotional capacity to do that, you would have to not believe that Christianity is the right way at all, which a lot of people would be like, how the fuck am I supposed to believe that? Everybody believes in Christianity. You'd have to so you'd have to have like no tolerance for yourself believing that Christianity is like the correct way to go, or you'd have to have like a zero tolerance level with Christianity. And it's not just that, you also would have to have a zero tolerance level with like atheism, and like a zero tolerance level for not being with the wrong person because you thought that was your twin flame. And also you'd have to have like a zero level of tolerance for not remembering your past lives. You would also have to not see yourself as more important than anybody else for remembering your past lives, because, and these are all things you'd have to be like 100% on, because guess what, if everybody has past lives and you remember yours, it doesn't mean something special about you, you just simply remembered them. Like, it's cool, like you had like the upgrade that you needed to like remember it, but at the end of the day anybody could also start to try to remember theirs. So it's sort of like a weird thing. You would have to not let like ego desires, I guess, like get to you. It sounds so cliche, I hate that, but yeah. You would have to not be somebody who would need like a vice in order to believe in past lives or like reincarnation or like eternal life. You'd have to not see it as a bad thing if we don't, like at all, if we don't die after this lifetime. Oh, and you would have to have an extremely high tolerance of like, I guess, like digesting the trauma of your past life, because even if we all maybe believe this one's like just a part of the matrix, you know, we all have like iPhones, so that kind of helps out. People can spread information. It doesn't mean that they're like actually going through like a real spiritual awakening. They can just be like, oh, I had an iPhone and then I felt like everything was just the matrix. Duh. Somebody handed you like technology. You got to spread these ideas around, and then you grew a lot faster, but it doesn't mean you had to go through something traumatizing to earn the growth, which means that in past lives when we didn't have technology, we were traumatized by everything more because we thought this world was real. So much that we were traumatized by everything. So it means you would have to like remember times when you died, but to you, you thought it was real. So you had the trauma of everything that caused you to die, and then after that life, you had trauma caused by it not being a real life that you just died from. It caused trauma every time that you died, the method of you dying. It actually can cause trauma so far back that it makes you say like, at what point in my life was I supposed to have been able to predict the fact that I died in this exact way to change it to be something different? Is there a way I was supposed to do that? Like, am I the one that expectation falls on, which is like a weird paradoxical thing because you thought the planet was real. Or, I mean the planet, but like you thought the lifetime was like your only lifetime. You thought it was real in the sense that like you don't have another lifetime, you know. You thought there wasn't like a version of you that remembers more stuff than your current self, you could say. So you'd have to have a capacity where you just remember your lifetimes with them, and the only part that gives you is that you know that you've had lifetimes where you were in a relationship with them. That's the only part that gives you, so you're still not that far in. Now, certain types of past life trauma, if you loved them a lot in a past life, it's possible for you to know their either current name or past life name or both in this lifetime when you're a child, but you'd have to be like 6 years old, 5 years old to start. Like, for me, I had imaginary friends that were just my twin flame when I was a kid, but like I didn't think it meant anything. I didn't think it mattered because I didn't know that was a real person. But I knew names, so that's why it sounds like Huck. Ah! I just would start to talk to my imaginary friend. I would just start to talk to my imaginary friend who I didn't know was a real person. By name. By name. I would talk to my imaginary friend and be like, whatever I wanted to say. Not ever something that interesting because it was an imaginary friend. Like, I don't know. I didn't think this was somebody real. Which then I became very concerned about the fact that I didn't think this was a real person, because it makes you say like, well, I hope you didn't walk around in your life and have people not think you were a real person, like, because I didn't know you were a real person, but also you were an imaginary friend. So like, it kind of deifies them, like, in a way, so you have to be careful about that. You cannot see them as being like on a pedestal just because they were your imaginary friend before you met. So that does happen, but it happened because I later on in my life I had multiple past lives where I was with my twin flame that I remember. Like, I'll remember like how we died, or like unique things that happened, or the mistakes. Like, it almost is harder to remember the good parts or the parts that are not a mistake. And then I could remember actually what happened after we left, because essentially I died first, but only like a minute or two, and then before he died, and then I didn't know, if that helps. Like, I didn't know, like, it was like I died, a couple of minutes passed, and then he died, but just because I knew that I died, there was like a weird gray area. Like, I didn't really know what was, like, I knew I died. I didn't know at first what he died from, because I knew what I died from, if that helps. Like, it doesn't help. we were in the same room, okay? I died, then I was like processing the fact that I died, and then he died, and then I was like, okay, like, now you're here with me, but like, what did you die from? Because I just know that I died. So it caused a lot. And then we had some lifetimes that were more second dimensional, not on Earth, and I actually remember those as well. And I remember like things we did there, things that happened there, things that we didn't like understand there. So yeah, so I actually remember lifetimes that were in hell states, if you will, like with my twin flame. And so for me, that does something different, because normally if you were to go to a hell state but you don't have a twin flame that you have like that bond with, so I guess it wouldn't, I don't know how to explain it. I don't know if it's that other people just have a twin flame they haven't met yet and they have to like reach a certain age to meet them. I don't know if that's the case. Or, you know, if they have like separate incarnations, maybe they'll meet someday. Like, say they have like multiple lifetimes, they're completely separate, never met. They have multiple lifetimes, they're meeting other people, doing whatever, but they don't meet each other. Then they're probably going to go to a hell state by themselves to work out what's still going on. So I think that's kind of how it works. I think you already have your twin flame. Maybe they're created together or like around the same time, like created to be a pair. But this is kind of like helping me to like realize like what that is. Okay, because I've seen people in hell states who are walking around and they just don't have anybody with them. But if you go there with your twin flame, then you guys stay together through that. And then whatever the storyline is, it feels like scripted, but whatever the storyline is, you just do it. So for me, the reason why I know who my twin flame is and which person is and that it's one person, whatever, is because we just went to hell states together so much that I'm able to not only in Earth like remember everything that happened in the hell states that we went to, but also the past lives we had before we did that. So it's like essentially what a hell state is. It's, I don't really know everything about what it is, but you just go through like a lot of trauma, or you see a lot of trauma there. Or at least that's where I was. I saw we had some superpowers. We could levitate as much as we wanted. We could fly around. We could go like 8 feet in the air. We were not going like 70 feet in the air. We could levitate people. We could levitate other people. But we were just in a really bad place. It was super dark. It was always nighttime. Always nighttime. I think we had some kind of trauma we were working out. So essentially deities will create a hell state for you if you have some kind of trauma that you can't work through, and it can be the reverse of whatever happened. So we unexpectedly were killed by somebody in a recent past life, just in the 1800s. So I don't know who we were, like, I don't think we were like so famous. I know that we had a method of income. It was pretty fruitful, but we didn't have like assets a lot. I don't know what we were doing. We were weird. So we were weird. We were unexpectedly on the run and then killed, and it was very fast. It was like no trial, like just, we didn't like do something to cause it. I mean, we were on the run, so like duh, but like I think maybe in the 1800s it was a little bit less like we have a record of everything. It was giving, we don't have a record of the fact that you went missing or what caused it. And it was like out of nowhere. It was very like just 5-second interaction, and then neither of you are alive. So I died, and then he immediately died, and it was again just like a 5-second interaction with, I think, a police officer, but we were not like mean to the police officer. We didn't say a lot. It was just like we were on the run, so they just killed us. No investigation, no trial, nothing. So yeah. And so because of that, because we felt like we had a really good life before it was lost out of nowhere, that's why we ended up going to the hell state in between, or the hell states multiple, like in between. So a deity created like scenarios for us. It was like if you create like out of your imagination, you know, like a room, and like, or not a room, it was like a whole street, it was like a whole city. It's like I created this, it's like if a deity said like, I created this city, like you're allowed to like, you can fly, you can levitate, you can't go like 70 feet in the air, but you can like, or maybe like once or twice, but it has to be like kind of weird, you know, but you can go like 8 feet in the air, 10 feet in the air, you can fly around whatever you want. Like there's some people walking around, but you just don't know any of them. You're not going to recognize any of them. And it's just the two of you. You recognize each other. You can like communicate, but you don't like talk with words. You can just like do actions to communicate. Very disturbing, very weird, but it helps you to like work through whatever the trauma is, because they sort of set it up like, here's this city. It's like a whole like world, like you're not like driving a car, you're not trying to like go so far away, right? But it's like, here's the city, you can kind of do whatever you want with it, so that you can feel more comfortable and like more grounded after losing a lifetime that you felt like had a lot of value, like out of nowhere, because it was unexpected and didn't feel like according to the plan to lose it. So for me, I don't find it hard to feel like confident. It doesn't feel like, oh, I'm just like, let me just choose a person and pretend they're my twin flame. Like it doesn't feel like that, to where I could be like, oh, is it true, is it not true? But remembering that much of it and like other incarnations together, like it helped to know for sure and not have like doubts. But it was pretty cool to have memories of like flying around and like, yeah, like telekinesis, I guess, and levitation. People running around, but again, like downsides, it was always nighttime. It was only one city we got to have, and we didn't recognize any of the people. They were not other people we knew. It was only us. We were kind of stuck here, or there, I mean, not here. We were stuck there, if you will, for like a sentence, which sounds weird, but we had the whole like weird thing where we were like, did we get in trouble? Oh wait, we lost our whole lifetime. So it was a weird thing where we almost like didn't know if we got in trouble for like whatever we felt like we had done, because we were like on the run for some reason. It was stupid. We felt like we were on the run, okay? And so then we didn't know if we got in trouble when we were unexpectedly killed, we thought it was like our own fault because we were like on the run, but then it turns out that like the method of us being killed had nothing to do with like the fact we were on the run or something. It was sort of like backwards. We were like, well, we thought we just got in trouble and that's what happened. Like, we didn't know what was happening. Like, but then, oh, that's not the reason we died. There was supposed to have maybe been like a trial and an investigation, and, you know, the police officers are still not supposed to just kill anybody they want, even if you live the life experience of like you're on the run, but you still have this valuable life, you don't want to lose it. Oh, you're actually just getting like shot or whatever for no reason, but you think it's because you're on the run. Very weird. So that's why we had to go somewhere where we essentially had like a sentence. It's like you're trapped here until you can understand what happened and like until you can work through the trauma of what happened, and also because you think you did something bad. So but having to like see that and understanding, like, it was also supposed to help like us recognize each other better, was a part of the purpose of the hell state. So that was part of why we were the only 2 people who were allowed to levitate in the hell state, and why every single other person there was a person we did not know, or had never met in any lifetime. So because of that, because we didn't recognize any of the people, if you've ever met a person you've never had a past life with, it almost takes like a double take because they look like an NPC. So you need like a minute to like understand and recognize like the situation, if that helps. If you've never had a lifetime with somebody, on a first impression they can look like an NPC. You have to like really focus, and then they don't. So, but if you've had many lifetimes with somebody, you know, like immediate recognition, like I know who that is, like it's okay, we've met before, like I know that's a real person. Like I know it's stupid, but like obviously treat them amazing, but like, you know what I mean, like it in person, it can take a minute to recognize and be like, okay, this is a real person. Like I remember the last time I met you, even if I don't consciously remember, like my soul still remembers the last time I met you. So we were put in this hell state where there were infinite people, like a whole city of people just living their lives normally, and then we were the only people. It was always nighttime. We were the only people who could. We were the only people. As the only person, we were the only people wearing like fun outfits. We were the only people dressed up wearing fun outfits. Everybody else was wearing like boring clothes. We were like head to toe, like dressed amazing, levitating, flying around, doing whatever we want. We could like levitate a person in the air if we felt like it, like for some reason. But it was kind of about like working on like recognition with each other too, in a way. Yeah. It was supposed to help, but it doesn't mean like, oh, you figured out everything you need to know. So we're back. Made me feel like one human lifetime is like very fragile. No matter what you have, it can disappear like that, and then you have to go to a hell state to try to feel grounded again because you just lost everything that you thought was real. Even if you told yourself you didn't think it was real, like you thought it was real. And so then you essentially have to go through trauma until you're okay with the fact that you lost something else, which is so backwards, so sad, so weird. We back. Anyway, I think that's why I have a hard time being, I feel like if I were like a leader in something, I would feel like, oh no, am I doing something like wrong? Like what if you guys are like taking on something from me that like I don't know, and like what if it's in a bad way? Like it's like a responsibility weird thing, I guess, like because I would feel like, I don't know. But we got to work on like personality in the hell state. Like again, we had to be okay with like dressing really cool, really weird ways, not having to worry about recognizing any of the other people because they were all people we'd never had any past lives with. So they were just all people we didn't have to know essentially in the world because it was just kind of given to us, even though there were other people living there too. But like it wasn't like a as real as Earth. Like it was just kind of like a play world where there's only 2 like people who were like given like power, like superpowers, so we could like work on again recognizing with each other, because if you meet somebody else there who can also levitate, it starts to make you pay attention to that person and say like, okay, like I need to learn why I can levitate and why you can levitate and nobody else can. or why you have telekinesis and I have telekinesis. We're both like dressed in fun ways, and like I need to learn why only you and I have this and nobody else, is what it feels like. Like recognition of like there's something important about both of us, but I have to find out what it is like the perspective, right? Yeah. So that's what happened. That's what happened. So I don't know what other people would have to do to recognize their twin flame, because essentially, while not on this planet, we just went through trauma that was supposed to cause us to recognize each other. But it's possible that we just didn't do enough of that if we didn't recognize each other enough. But does that mean that would be what we would choose to do in between lifetimes? Well, sometimes in the second dimension, you see like, it's not always like trauma happening to you, but you see a lot of trauma. So there's no reason to think you don't watch people die like right in front of you. There's no reason to think that, you know, while you have superpowers, there's not other people you're watching not have superpowers and like have terrible stuff happen to them, whatever. You know, or you could be in a reverse situation where somebody else is like more powerful and more strong like in front of you. Like you can kind of see like different stuff happen, but we were just not expecting to lose everything within 5 seconds, and that happened out of nowhere, so it didn't go well. But we were already in a relationship, and I think kind of knew we were twin flames. We knew we were different. We knew we were special compared to everybody we knew, but we didn't know why. So we had like we had some gaps, some missing stuff. Anyway, I guess that's it for this video, because I kind of feel done with the questions, but I wanted to add some info out there. Again, I don't know what it would cause. Well, I don't know while on Earth how people can get better at their recognition of their twin flame again while on Earth, because one Earth lifetime can feel short and small compared to literal gods, which is again why we chose to go into second dimensional worlds where you can feel special, because a god just gives you a city, for example, and you can do whatever you want, and you know, you can kind of feel important, and then it makes you again recognize them and not feel stupid anymore. I don't know, but I love you guys. Actually, I wanted to keep going, which I feel like I always do. I always end a video and then I'm like, actually, I'm gonna keep going, because I had another idea, but I'm fine with talking about it. When you go to a hell state, that's what I want to talk about more. You have to do whatever a deity who created it for you tells you to do. And so a lot of what you would have to do is just what you could get totally canceled if it were Earth in 2026. So what was one of the hell states and things we were tasked to do? So as I said, when we would go to hell states, a city, or yeah, like a deity would create a city for us and say like, this is for you, there's other people walking around, but like don't worry about them, they're not important, whatever, but like this is for the two of you to explore. And you know, you're the only people who can dress however you want, they have to be normal, you guys are the only ones who can levitate, you guys are the only ones who have telekinesis, you're the only ones who can actually like levitate other people. You can't give your superpowers to the person, like here you do it yourself, but you could be like, oh, you want to like levitate, like I'll levitate you, or like, you know, you want this object to move, like I'll do it for you, like on your behalf, like I'm helping you with it. But then as I said, because you're in the second dimension, or it's like a hell state, you're there, so you have to actually sometimes, because there's a lot of trauma in the second dimension, the other people who you don't know are people who are essentially like on their first lifetime, like, and they're just at a hell state. So you actually have to be their educator if you wanted to, like, in some of them you have to actually be like their educator because you've had more lifetimes. So you're tasked with the responsibility of showing them what the second dimension is, because there's also a reason why they're where they are. They're also trying to gain something. And so something that can happen is the deity that created the hell state for you, they can say you have to be willing to like do something that's going to like traumatize them so then they can get over it like themselves, because they also have something they're trying to work through. And while this is going to be traumatizing for you, it also has to be traumatizing for them, or you did not do your job educating them, because then they didn't learn anything from it if nothing was traumatizing from it in the hell state, in the second dimension, right? So like, not everywhere you go, because there were times when it wasn't supposed to be like as bad. And then there were times where like you were supposed to like levitate people and then do something that was going to kill them with like your superpowers in front of other people and like scare them and then go get them. And like, so it ended up becoming a weird thing where it was like, oh, like you're going to levitate this person, and then, you know, oh, your twin flame is going to do something that like kills them while they're in the air levitating. Like, oh, you're gonna like take their skull out of their head in front of other people while they're levitating, and that's your job, and that's like how you eventually leave the hell state when you want to, is that you actually taught a significant number of people through the actual physical trauma you caused them or other people they knew there. Because it's not like an Earth lifetime where the gods do it. At some point in time, maybe you go through some trauma, but the gods said, okay, like, we planned this lifetime, and that lifetime for these people, and like this will be traumatizing, they're not going to have access to this, something bad's going to happen to them, so while if you look at it like we're on like the third or fourth dimension or whatever, then the hell state has to be worse. So you have to cause, if you want to eventually leave when you are ready to graduate, essentially graduating as like an educator was what we kind of did. Like we if you want to look at it that way, like we had to be able to cause the people some form of trauma in order to graduate and be able to leave, while we were given the city to do whatever we wanted. Again, this happened many times, but when we were given like a city, like you can do whatever you want, you can be here as long as you want, as long as possible, but again, you're the only two people with superpowers, you have to work on recognizing each other, whatever. When you decide you're ready to leave, you have to cause a significant amount of trauma, or you're not going to be allowed to leave. Like that's going to be like the key to open the door to leave. So when you decide you're ready to like go back to Earth, go back to somewhere normal, like go back to a happier place where yeah, you don't have superpowers, but like you're also not around like trauma all the time, then you actually have to cause it before you can leave. And then it's like somebody else is just gonna maybe like come back, not you, but like somebody else could probably go there, do like the job you were doing. Like it's not like, it wasn't gonna be like you wander around for so long that you find somebody else who's doing what you guys are doing. But if you leave, then like there's an open space for somebody else to go there. They'll probably reuse the world. There's still people living there. So it's probably a place you guys could go, but not during your Earth lifetime, and not like, I mean, maybe like mentally like go there to see it or something if you're like super psychic. Most people are not though. So, you know, but yeah, it was just like that. But if you go there for the job, like what we did, think of yourself like literally like Pennywise or something. Like you have to like do weird stuff. It doesn't even mean you want to, you just have to do it, but like, yeah, that's how it is. Or that's like the method of like escaping for you, is doing that. Versus the other people, they just die to get out of there because they just have like a normal like fragility level. You can't die because you're the one who's like educating them. That's what it does. So that's what it does. But if you go there, you have to cause such significant trauma that the deities let you go and leave. So I just wanted to talk about it. While it sounds fun, it's not always like all fun and games. People go there to get over like trauma if they immediately lost their life, or yeah, that kind of thing. Or they have to like be able to recognize their twin flame better, that kind of thing. So, but then you have to like be willing to do something like really crazy in order to finally escape, or you'll stay there forever. So don't sign up for that one unless you actually know that, or like that's the plan, because we just had to like be willing to do it to escape and stuff, and then we did. But yeah, anyway, now the video's over. Bye guys, love you.